Before we begin, a quick disclaimer. Although we're therapists, this podcast does not provide therapy or replace working with your own therapist. Everything shared here is for general education and conversation only.
We are doing this.
I'm nervous, but let's go.
Hi, guys. We are Dab and Christina. We spend 40 hours a week helping people managing their lives and the other 128 hours wondering if we're doing our own lives completely wrong. That is us.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Never really thought about the numbers 40 and 128, but yeah. I guess, how did we meet, Dabby? Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember that we met at a trauma center. We were both psychotherapists at this trauma center, and we bonded over our anxieties, and we have been inseparable ever since.
Yeah, I don't remember the first interaction necessarily, but I do remember we bonded over everyday things, and then I forget what exactly you said. You were anxious about something, and in my head, I'm like, "Okay, I know I can get along with this girl because her anxieties are similar to mine."
Yes, indeed. And we do, with that said, we do want to explain why Two Anxious Girls. Why did we named our podcast Two Anxious Girls? We understand that we don't want to make our anxieties the most important thing in the room. And that's not what we're doing. We're simply acknowledging it. We recognize that we do feel anxious, even doing this podcast. And we just want to normalize it. We want to normalize it. We wanted Two Anxious Girls to feel relatable, straight to the point. This is exactly what it is. We're just anxious and we're trying to do our best. And that's why we called it Two Anxious Girls. And we recognize the paradox.
Yeah, and I think also when we think about mental health and the fact that we're therapists, a lot of people are gonna say, "Oh, it's gonna be a lecture, it's gonna be boring, it's gonna be heavy," but that's not what we wanna do, right? We wanna make it fun, and I think Dabby, we do a good job of laughing at ourselves a lot, so just trying to make light of anxiety. And yeah, we wanted to create that space where we can talk about mental health, but it's not as heavy and
Not a lecture.
right.
Yeah. And we do want to talk about our lives as well, our own anxieties, how it shows up, and how we try our best to manage it, and how we laugh about it as well.
Yeah,
With that, should we go into our anxiety resumes?
sure.
Guys, our anxiety resumes are our top 3 irrational anxieties, which, by the way, we recognize that anxiety is irrational. But here it goes. Which one is your number 1?
So my number 1, I think, has to be whenever I text my parents, not necessarily my husband, because I know sometimes he's just not on his phone, but if I text my parents and I don't answer within, say, 10, 15 minutes, I start to really get nervous, my heart starts to beat fast, and I get really anxious.
My number 1, you guys, and we'll get more into it in some future episode, is that I am afraid of going to the dentist.
Yeah, that's real.
This is bad. What's your number 2?
My number 2 is probably flying. I never used to be anxious about flying. I studied abroad. I used to love it. And then something shifted, and the thought of having to go into an airplane and be in a space where I can't get out. I think that's what it is for me, being in a space that I can't get out. Although I know it's probably the safest way to travel. Logically, I know that, but mentally, I get really, really anxious about flying.
Yeah. And my 3rd one, sorry, my 2nd one, is overthinking. I am still overthinking a text message that I should had responded to my neighbor 2 weeks ago. I am paralyzed and I am overthinking what I will respond, and I still haven't done it.
Maybe we can work through that today.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. What's your last one?
My last one, let's see. My last one, and this might be a little TMI, but the last anxiety is not being near a bathroom. And I find myself always thinking, am I going to be near a bathroom? Because the anxiety of having let's say, an accident. I know we've all been there or had that feeling. That brings a lot of anxiety.
Christina, thank you for your vulnerability.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. And you are not alone.
Thank you.
I always need to be close to a bathroom as well. But yes, all jokes aside, now we seriously want to introduce ourselves. So, Christina, why did you become a therapist?
So why I became a therapist, well, I'll rewind a bit. I went to undergrad at UMass Amherst where I studied psychology and I minored in education. And why I chose psychology in college was I think it was just a gen ed course, like Psychology 101. And then it was just really interesting to me learning about the human brain and how things connect and all that. So I decided, okay, let me major in that. Fast forward after college, I took a year off. I nannied for a year. It was amazing. But then I thought, you know what? Let me try to get a big girl job. And at my big girl job, I was working at partial hospital for kids and adolescents, and I wanted to grow in that, so I decided to go to to get my master's, where I went to Rutgers, Newark. I graduated with a master's in social work, and then I took my LSW exam, took my LCSW exam, and then I found myself just wanting to give back. I knew that I always wanted to help people in a way, and I think social work does a great job of just there's so many different routes you can take in social work, whether it's direct clinical care or behind the scenes. So I just found myself in that direct clinical care. And 6 years later, here I am, have my own private practice, and it's great. And you, Debbie? What about you?
And we started this podcast.
And we started this podcast, yeah, more importantly.
Yeah, I will say that I attended Lehman College for my undergrad. Getting to obtaining a BSW, a bachelor's in social work, was not something that came naturally to me. When I was 18 years old and had to make the most important decision of your life, I honestly wanted to be an attorney, and that's the honest truth. But I had just come to this country. We can talk about that some other time as well. I had just come to this country. I was 18 years old. I felt that my English was not fluent enough. I knew how difficult it was to become an attorney in the United States. So I honestly felt that I had to pivot. So there, yes, I have some guilt, I have some shame about that, and we'll talk about it in the future. But I felt that I needed to pivot and I wanted to do something that within 5 years I could be given back and I could have some stability, sense of stability. And that's why I pursued my bachelor's in social work. So that was 4 years at Lehman College in New York City. And then for my master's degree, I did 1 year at Fordham University. And I have been in the field ever since. I have worked in community mental health, which you truly are giving back to underserved communities. And I learned so much working in that field. I also worked in the substance abuse field, which it takes a lot from you, but again, very humbling, and you learn so much. And it really had an impact on me. It had an impact on who I am today. It had an impact on my practice. And then we did some trauma work. And now, yes, we each have our own private practices, and we are starting this podcast in which we hope to share our knowledge. We are not perfect,
Absolutely not.
but we truly are just trying to do our best. And that's what we want to share and here, give out here. So with that, we do want to explain what you can expect from us and what you can expect from this podcast. Again, we don't want it to feel like a lecture. We want it to be fun, and it is going to be fun, and it is going to be light. And at times it might feel a little bit heavy, but we'll try our best to not necessarily take it there.
Mhm,
Because even though we might have some therapy insights, this is not what therapy constitutes, and you should not replace this for therapy.
mhm.
Everyone should have their own therapist. There's incredible work that is done with your own therapy. And here we're just going to keep it light and fun.
Yeah.
And with that said, we are going to keep our podcast structured for our own sake and our own anxieties.
Mhm.
So, our first segment, which you can expect from us every single week, is the spiraling.
So should we explain exactly I'm sure people have heard of spiraling. I think the young they crash out. That's something that I learned recently. A spiral, a crash out, however you want to say it. We're going to name it as spiraling. So when we say spiraling, what we mean is that finding yourself in a cycle of a negative thought, it usually starts with a simple negative thought, right? And then you continue with that thought. You continue with that thought. It goes to a different place. The what ifs. What if I do that? What if this happens? And then the worst case scenario happens in your mind. And that is racing thoughts, feeling anxious, almost, feeling that panic. So spiraling again can start as something very small, a minor negative thought, and then you find yourself full blown anxiety attack. Can't stop your mind, and it's really hard to stop.
Yep, and we're catastrophizing about everything. And catastrophizing is thinking about the worst case scenario, thinking about the world ending. And yes, we find ourselves in this loop and we can get out of it. So that will be our first segment, the spiraling. And we do encourage all our future listeners to send us your experiences of what has been your spiraling for the week. Or, in other words, we can also call it anxiety like moments. What were your moments of anxiety during the past week? And if you would like to share that with us, we would love that so that we can discuss it in the pod.
Yeah. So I think this is a great time to talk about our own spirals of the week. I think it's safe to say Dabby and I spiraled this whole week about just starting this podcast and knowing that we wanted to do something, but we don't want it to quote fail or we want it to be quote perfect. So I definitely found myself thinking about it before bed, thinking about it in the shower, thinking about it when I'm feeding my baby. So that's spiraling, right?
Yep. And for us this week, it showed up as performance anxiety and spiraling about this podcast. And are we good enough for it? Can we make this happen? But yet, here we are. We are doing it anyway. We do recognize the anxiety that we are feeling, but we are showing ourselves. We are being vulnerable. We are showing up and doing it anyway. And that's one of the things that I truly, truly believe in. We don't want to be paralyzed by it. So we accept the anxiety of starting this podcast, but at the same time, we just want to control what it is in our control, and that is showing up and making this happen. So,
Yeah.
with that said, that is the first segment, spiraling, and we'll talk more about it in future episodes. And the second one will be our second segment will be our insights, casual therapist insights, in which each week we will introduce a mental health topic, talk about it, and just share our tips and insights on how to overcome it.
Yeah. And I think with tips, they're going to be very easy, digestible, things that you can take away from this podcast and use the next day. So something that you can use on an everyday basis that, again, is easy, nothing intense, just things that I think help us, right?
Absolutely. For me, specifically this week is be gentle with yourself.
Hmm.
I say that to all my clients. I say that to myself every morning. And yes, it's recognizing how we feel, recognizing the discomfort, recognizing that growth doesn't always feel easy. It's very uncomfortable, but we will get through it. We'll get through it and just be gentle. Just be gentle with yourself.
Yeah. And I like this week, I tell myself this week and every day that it's okay to not be okay. Although I'm feeling anxious, it's my body's way of telling me something and it's okay. And anxiety is something that we can work through, we can learn about it, and we can laugh about it.
Yes, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And with that, we are going to start wrapping it up. And our last segment will be guilty pleasures, you guys, guilty pleasures. What helped us get through the week, what we enjoyed, what we're watching, what we're eating, and just everything in between. So, yeah, guilty pleasures.
Yeah, I love this because I think this is how Dobby and I really connected in the sense of talking about shows and new recipes. So for this week, I discovered I'm trying to eat healthier in this new season of my life. So I found this recipe for a single chocolate chip cookie that has protein in it. So I make one chocolate chip cookie a night that has protein, Greek yogurt, peanut butter. So it's all okay ingredients, let's say, and I will watch a show. So right now I'm actually in between shows. I was just watching what was I just watching? Oh, His and Hers, and then I watched Tell Me Lies, but that's every week. So I just find myself, finding a funny show or something just to wind down and kind of shut my brain off for the night. And that is my guilty pleasure. Do you, Dobby?
Well, I have a couple. I have a couple of them, and there are a couple of things that I want to mention. Last night, I saw Alan Cumming live. He is an actor. He is the host of The Traders, which I know that it's quite a popular
Mm,
show right now out there. Yes.
yeah,
And this man, he is incredible. His show, it's kind of a cabaret style, one man standing. And he talks about his life. He talks about his traumas. He talked about his sexuality. It was really a sex education class. And he also talked about the social political state of this country, how awful it is. He encouraged all of us, he engaged the audience to really just scream the anger that we're feeling. And he also talked about hate. He talked about how our phobias show up. He talked about so many different things, and at the same time, he just made it so fun and enjoyable. And the name of his show is Uncut, and he said that uncut is just being raw, showing up authentically yourself, just being you and being okay with that. So that was the show that I saw last night with
that's so
my
cool.
husband. Yeah, it was so, so good. We had a great time, and if he is showing at a city near you, you should definitely give it a try. And other things that I'm watching, I do watch a lot of TV because
Mhm,
it's what brings me joy.
mhm,
I saw this past week a movie called If I Had Legs, I'll Kick You. It's on HBO Max. I encourage everyone to watch it. It is a bit heavy at times, but it's about a therapist
mm,
who is burned out. She's burned out. She's going through a lot. She feels alone. And she has quite an inappropriate relationship with her therapist as well. But that's something to unpack also in the future. But it's a great movie. I hope she wins an Oscar. She is nominated for an Oscar for her performance on this film. And it's a great film. I really, really loved it. And what else? And of course, with my husband, I'm watching The Fallout, which is just a show based on it's a show based on a video game.
mm.
So yeah, that's where I compromise.
It's all about compromise, which we'll also talk about because I think if we don't compromise, anxiety will kick in too.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Anyhow, guys, I think that's our show for today. We just really wanted to introduce ourselves, share with you guys what you can expect, and
Yeah, I think we didn't mention Dobby, which is important. Just recognizing that we will never talk specifically about any clients that we work with. We're not going to share any of their stories. We probably will never actually share anything like that. So just wanted to make that clear, right?
absolutely, yeah. And if any of our current clients come across our podcast, we strongly encourage you not to listen. Let's wait until our work together is done. And then if you would like to become a fan, you can, but not while we're working together. And we will not mention any clients at all. We will not mention any names of any clients or even submissions that we may receive from you. We're not going to share anyone's names. We will protect everyone's confidentiality. And we do know what HIPAA is.
Mhm.
We can, let's say, for example, what I love about being a therapist is all the book recommendations that I get. I get book recommendations, I get movie recommendations, and I can maybe one day mention, oh, a client recommended me to read this book and share it with you guys. That's not necessarily breaking HIPAA laws. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up
Yeah.
because it is important for all of you to know that we take confidentiality very, very seriously, and that's not something that we will do.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, please send us questions, anxiety success moments, anything that we can share in future episodes. And let's just say this episode might not be perfect, but we hope that you follow along and you stay with us.
Yes, please stay with us. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye bye.